We begin with that primetime hearing from the House committee investigating the January 6th insurrection. We learned a lot. We heard new accounts of what happened that day and saw new video we've never seen before. The truth matters here because our democracy was at risk. We have live team coverage with reaction and perspective you will only see here on WUSA 9. Natalie Brand starts us off from the Capitol to walk us through the information we just learned tonight.
In a rare primetime hearing, the Select House Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol attack began laying out what it has learned so far.
Donald Trump oversaw and coordinated a sophisticated 7-part plan to overturn the presidential election and prevent the transfer of presidential power.
The committee revealed video never before seen by the public.
I am not allowed to say what's going to happen today because everyone's just going to have to watch.
As it played, tears flowed for Officer Harry Dunn, who helped defend the Capitol, and Sandra Garza, the girlfriend of Officer Brian Sicknick, who died the day after the attack.
What I saw was just a war scene.
The panel also heard testimony from U.S. Capitol Police Officer Caroline Edwards, who suffered a traumatic brain injury that day.
I mean, I saw friends with blood all over their faces. I was slipping in people's blood. I just remember that moment of stepping behind the line and just seeing the absolute war zone that the West Front had become.
The committee has interviewed around 1,000 witnesses, including some of former President Trump's family. But several of his allies have fought subpoenas, including House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy.
And let's be honest, it is a smokescreen for Democrats to push their radical agenda.
Last May, Senate Republicans blocked the creation of a nonpartisan committee that would have given both parties subpoena power and delivered a report by the end of 2021. Instead, the House Select Committee's next hearing is Monday, with several more this month. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
It's been 17 months since the insurrection, and our team has closely followed every development. Jordan Fisher is a big part of our team who covers this story. He was there for tonight's hearing, and he joins us outside of the Capitol. Jordan, listen, I want to get your perspective on this January 6th attack, and you were inside for this hearing with a view that none of us had. And I got to ask you about the officers who lived through the insurrection. We saw some family members there, too. But I want to know, what were they doing? How were they reacting to all of this new testimony?
Yeah, Leslie, 4 of the officers who testified last summer about being assaulted on January 6th were in the audience today. That includes Officer Mike Fanone, who was dragged into the crowd and so badly beaten that he suffered a heart attack. It was particularly emotional for them. You could tell tears coming from their faces, reliving that moment. And for Officer Harry Dunn, who had to listen to a woman he described as his rookie, Officer Caroline Edwards, who testified today about being knocked unconscious, about suffering a TBI as a result of January 6th. After the hearing, he told us he was so proud of her to see what she had done there.
I joked with Sergeant Gannell right before, and I said, "All right, man, no crying, okay?" And he looked up and said, "What? I thought you said no crying." But it was, it was rough. It was just an emotional, like I said, seeing my coworkers in those predicaments, and Officer Edwards, I trained her. She was my rookie. I trained her, and just so proud of her.
It's one thing to watch it. It's quite another to relive the moments where you were there when all of this was happening. Jordan, I know you've covered the Justice Department's investigation into January 6th. This is really the first time we're hearing the case from the Congressional Committee. But out of everything we've learned tonight, and I'm asking you this because you have followed every tiny detail, what do you think is the newest and most significant piece of information that we learned?
We saw that the committee is really focused in on the extremist groups like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, which we've seen a lot from the Justice Department. But the newest thing we saw tonight is video depositions from people incredibly close to former President Donald Trump. That includes a former campaign spokesman, senior advisors, a former attorney, and 2 of his children, Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, who have both testified before the committee. Ivanka Trump saying that she believed the former Attorney General Bill Barr when he told her father and them that there was no evidence at all of any fraud that would have overturned the election. So as we go forward and we have more hearings to come, I think that's what we're going to be looking at, these depositions from people that were in the room with President Trump on January 6th and the days that followed.
This was the first of a significant primetime event. We know there are more to come starting next week, beginning on Monday. Jordan, thank you. You know, a lot of our neighbors tuned in for tonight's hearing. Dozens watched it live from a big screen outside the Capitol. January 6th is personal for so many of us because the attack happened here, right in our backyard. John Henry continues our coverage from the Capitol. And John, you caught up with some people who watched this hearing. What did they tell you?
Well, there was a wide variety of opinions regarding the hearing. We went to actually several locations tonight to see how people were feeling about it. Over at the Taft Memorial, Carillion, about a block away from the Capitol building, about 100 people gathered to watch it on a big screen, while at Shaw's Tavern in Northwest D.C., a few people gathered for a watch party there as well. Some people told us the evidence they saw this first night, they believe, further tied former President Donald Trump to being directly involved in the events of January 6th. And that showing, and also by showing those depositions with people like his daughter Ivanka Trump and former Attorney General Bill Barr, could help sway more Americans to side with the committee.
It did seem that he was fairly involved with the attempt on the Capitol, and he made several threats to Mike Pence and other Congress members.
I think it's really important that they tell the American public what these politicians said in the moment, which is very, very different from what they're saying after the fact.
But we also noticed something at Shaw's Tavern. Only about 1 in every 10 people at the bar were actively watching that hearing. There was one woman who we talked to who said she was concerned about how things were going when it came to viewership, and that she felt that first hour of the hearing up through the video of the initial siege dragged on.
I don't think either of us have been surprised yet. We were a little disappointed in the entertainment value of the opening statements. Concerned that people who would be convinced by the message are not getting that message.
And that's big because the entire point of these hearings are to persuade people who may not be into politics or who may support President or former President Donald Trump. But once again, this is only the first night of these hearings. We'll have to see what the ultimate public opinion is at the end of them. Leslie?
Yeah, it was the opening night, and there is still more building to do. John, thank you. These hearings are vital, not just to ensure the health of our democracy, but to better protect the thousands of people who live and work on Capitol Hill. Adam Longo spoke to a congressional staffer who is paying very close attention.
Sharon Nichols, you were on Capitol Hill in your office on January 6th. You were locked in the office. You've told us before how frightened you were that day. I wonder, in the more than a year that's passed since then, do you think about January 6th a lot?
I do, and considering what a monumental day it was for our country, and the fact that I go into work, not every day because of the pandemic, but I go in often, so I'm reminded. The reminders are everywhere. I think about it often.
Does this committee and its hearing, the fact it's even happening, does it bring comfort to you and your fellow staffers and other colleagues on Capitol Hill about the things that could come out of it?
Not in the sense that it can undo the damage that was done that day, or that it could 100% prevent it from happening again, but it helps us feel seen.
So I wonder, are you optimistic that the committee's work will help make you and the hundreds of other DC residents who work on Capitol Hill safer?
I don't think anything's going to eliminate the risk, because nothing can. There's risk in waking up every morning. There's risk every time we walk out the door. It will help us review what happened that day, review what we did right, what we did wrong, our vulnerabilities, how we can prevent it from happening again.
And WUSA 9's award-winning 30-minute documentary called Democracy Divided features firsthand accounts from people like Sharon Nichols and former D.C. police officer Mike Fanone. You'll see the police body camera video obtained through legal challenges. It's all available right now on demand and after this newscast on the WUSA 9 Plus app for Roku and Fire TV.